very warm welcome to She Inspires. I'm Sherwood McCaskey. Thanks for joining us. It's a 5-part series that celebrates trailblazing women who are breaking barriers in traditionally male-dominated fields. In this, the 4th episode, and as we continue to celebrate women in the month of March 2025, we spotlight Kathaleen Banfield, a woman whose determination and resilience have driven her, and quite literally so, into a profession where women are rarely seen. As a van driver of the schoolmeals department, Kathaleen has navigated challenges, defied stereotypes, and proven that skill and dedication know no gender. This evening, she shares her inspiring journey, what led her to this career, the obstacles she faced, and the triumphs along the way. Her story is just one of 2 that will be shared in this episode. 2 stories of courage, perseverance, and the power of believing in oneself.
Years ago, I realized that there are ladies driving huge vehicles, and plus I grew up with mostly male, my brothers, and it's like what they do, I did also. And I always think that I would have driven something regardless of what it is. I worked at transport boards, saw ladies also, and since then I worked in the kitchen 25 years, 2 years doing van driver, and that also motivated me too. Seeing men driving, I know that I could do it. So I said, let me motivate and elevate myself to a van driver. About 2.5 years ago, I was asked the question, do you still want to be a van driver? And I said, sure. Well, it did come to fruition in 2023. So here am I. I did get a lot of support. I got praises, especially when I went to St. Christopher Girls' School. The teachers, the students, everyone came out and greeted me. They even sang a song for me. It's a job, and you related, you want to get there to the schools and so on time, unless there's a setback, either it may be traffic on the road, or you could leave the kitchen at times a little late. But I try to get there being careful.
Her unwavering commitment to delivering school meals safely, no matter the challenges that may come her way. Her dedication speaks volumes about her passion for her work and the students she serves. Now we turn our attention to a milestone moment in her career, one that not only recognized her trailblazing journey, but also inspired others. Kathaleen was featured in the newspaper as the first female driver of the school meals department, a moment of pride that reinforced her place as a pioneer in her field. Kathaleen now reflects on what that recognition meant to her and the impact it has had on her journey.
That moment was actually around the 16th of February 2023. That moment was when I was highlighted in the newspaper. That felt really good, and I got a lot of support also. It was like overwhelming. Yes, you made it. It's like you're the first, not first in female driving, but first as a school meals van driver. It made me feel really proud to be one.
Kathaleen, on how being recognized in the newspaper as the first female driver of the school meals department was a moment of immense pride, one that validated her journey and the barriers she has broken. But for Kathaleen, it's not just about her own success. It's about opening doors for others. She now shares a message of encouragement for women who are thinking of stepping into the male-dominated roles. Her words are a testament to the power of resilience, determination, and the belief that no career should be off limits because of gender. Here is her advice for the next generation.
As long as you have that focus, or you think that you can handle that job, go for it. It is necessary for we to elevate ourselves, promote ourselves regardless of what it is. If it is in driving, if it is becoming a supervisor or whatever, it is important that we elevate ourselves. As long as we have a goal, go reach for it.
As Kathaleen reminded us, it's important that we elevate ourselves, set our goals, and reach for them. Her journey is a testament to that determination. And now we turn our focus to another remarkable woman who has done just that. Lorraine holds a historic place in Barbadian culture as the first female admiral in the history of the Barbados landship. But her journey in this role began many years ago through her deep love for the performing arts, her involvement in folk chorales, and her dedication to voluntary organizations. In this next segment, Lorraine takes us back to where it all began for her early years in music and in community service, and how those experiences eventually led her to joining the Barbados Landship in 1993. Here is her inspiring story.
As a child, my dad was a choir master of the persons who go out and do service of songs and different things. So he would get us together and teach us the rudiments of music, teach us to sing. So I loved the singing. I didn't love the theory, but I loved to sing. And eventually, I say, well, let me do something with it. And I joined choirs. At one time, I was singing in as much as 12 different choirs. And then I became instrumental as a choir director for some of them. Up to this day, I'm the choir director of the National Conservation and the St. Cyprian's Men's Fellowship. And I have my own group, little group, which we call Brothers and Sisters. When I leave here, I'm going to sing for a funeral. And this is how I got involved in it. I started with another cousin, the Newberry Folk and Cultural Group. I was instrumental in the Workmen's PTA. Then I was instrumental in forming the Barbados Red Cross Folk Group. And I was the commandant of the Barbados Red Cross, leading and being 2IC alternately for them. Then in 1992, I was approached by the then Captain Watson, who became Lord High Admiral, the quartermaster then, who is now the senior admiral. He suddenly took ill, and they asked me if I can come and assist. So in 1993, the Barbados Landship was planning for their 130th anniversary. So they encouraged me to come and sit on their committee, and then asked me if I would take the parade for them and how I would go about it. So being affiliated with all the people who marched in the parades, I said, yes, let us approach them, all the organizations, and ask them, and they readily accepted. And then the then captain said, well, you would lead the parade. And this parade started at the dock in Licorice Village, and we marched from Licorice Village to St. Michael's Cathedral for 4 p.m. service. And it started there. Then I decided I will help, I would assist. And that is how I became involved. When I first joined the Landship, I was told not to take part in the maneuvers. And why? Because the captain then, who became Lord High Admiral Watson, was a member of my church, the St. Anne's Anglican Church, and he sang in the choir. And I was a Eucharistic lay minister. So he said, no, I don't want you doing these movements. You will be a mother to the ship. Then after, I said, but Admiral, anytime you come involved with anything, you should know everything about it. I said, I don't see nothing vulgar nor derogatory in the movement. I will learn the movement and I too will be involved. The then captain said, but you're here and you're a commandant. You can't be less than an officer since you come over here. I'll make you number one. I was the number one officer. Then I was elevated to commander. Then in 2021, I was elevated to captain. And now, in the year 2025, I am now an admiral. It felt good after, but first, we were at a board meeting. And one of the directors said, the next admiral would be a female. So we had other females. So I looked at the financial officer, and I look over to another advisor, and I see the administrative officer looking at me, and I said, oh no. All these were helping the Barbados land ship long before he came on board. Then afterwards, I was told that I would be elevated to an admiral. And I thought, well, somebody else would be it, but it felt good. And what made me feel even better when they say that, they can see how I pulled the organization along with me. Because when I been there to help back in 1992-93, I saw them as a cultural group performing and displaying, but I was taught as a paramilitary person. So when I went and assisted with the parades, I said, no, we have to be just like the others. And I said what I would like them to do, how I would like them to present themselves, and such like. It was a lot of resistance, but I did not back down. I said, we need to be recognized like any other organization. And they came along, you know, it was a lot of hard work, but perseverance seldom fails. When I became a captain and I was interviewed and they asked me what I would like to see, I said I would like to see the land ship move to a higher level and grow in numbers that we would have longevity. And then I said to the committee, I can assist if y'all want to give me the lead way. And I said, I'm working in the schools, and I can start if you give me the permission to start in the schools. And I started with the St. George Primary School. I asked my senior admiral now, and he came along and we worked together in every area. Then I was transferred, and the Ministry of Education had said to my then principal at St. George that they would have come and do a ceremony to acknowledge the land ship and how the Ministry of Education was very pleased to have that program as an extracurricular activity. Then I was transferred and I went to another school, and it didn't resonate with me to start there. Something like it say you won't be here for long, and I didn't. I spent a year and a term at Hinesbury. Then I was transferred to Mount Tabor. From the time I get to Mount Tabor, It's approach your principal and ask. And I asked my principal then, Mr. Trevor Waldron, and he jumped at the idea. He said yes. Again, I went to who's now my senior admiral, and he said, I'll be there. And we went through with that. Then was in 2015. So Mount Tabor was the first school, and then I was being approached by other schools. We want this program, we need this program. And now we are at 15 schools and heading to 20. We teach them the maneuvers. We teach them to plait the maypole, which they love. I used to also encourage Mount Tabor to do field trips. I would teach them how to take care of themselves and always look after the ones that are younger. Give them something positive to do. And in any activity that the Barbados Landship had, I would tell it to my principal, and he would make sure that he get some of the children and bring them along to be a part of that. So it caused them to feel like I belong, and that they don't have to sit down and watch others in a landship movement representing them, but they can be present.
Well, Lorraine's journey to the Barbados Landship was shaped by her passion for the performing arts and her commitment to service. But beyond its colorful performances and rhythmic movements, the Barbados Landship represented something far deeper, a source of empowerment for the disenfranchised in Barbados. Lorraine shares her thoughts on the powerful role the Landship has played in uplifting communities and preserving the spirit of perseverance amongst its members.
Historically, the Landship brought entertainment to the masses. It helped those that were struggling to meet financial needs, like when they do the susu, which we call the meet and turn, they would be able to advance their own style of living by sending this child to a secondary school, paying for a private school education, which before they might not have been able to do. They would buy themselves a little donkey and cart. They would get then to go into that time we had local government, where they can go and get a job, where they can have people weeding the road. Their donkey and cart would move that stuff off the road. They will also be able to buy themselves a pig. And if you buy a sow pig and your neighbor had a boar pig, you can go and get that pig line and you can get a litter. Then you can sell them. You can raise some of them and start increasing. You can go and you can buy a heifer. And as your heifer grows, you can take it to somebody's bull and you can get a young calf. Then you can have milk to sell to your neighbors. Then your cow with its young calf, when it grows, you can increase with that. And then you can kill the older one and you can sell your beef. You are making a profit and you are advancing on your style of living, right? And then that is how we started to move and seeing growth. Then you might raise enough money and you can buy a small car and you would have a vehicle in your village. So I remembered growing up And we go to funerals by walking behind the hearse. The children in front, the ladies next, then the gentlemen who had bicycles, then the cars. Now, I remember you have someone in your village with a car, and if you had a family funeral, you would go and say, I'm going to hire this car to take us to this funeral. And somebody will come and tell you, Miss Seeley, I want to seat in with you. A seat in means that you would get a lift in the car and you would give them something to help pay for this lift instead of walking. So then you start to see a betterment in your community. All this came out of landship.
As pointed out, the Barbados Landship has been a force for community betterment, uplifting those who have been marginalized and creating opportunities for growth and empowerment. But within this movement, women have played a vital and often underappreciated role. Lorraine now reflects on the remarkable women of the Barbados Landship who inspired her journey and paved the way for others. She also speaks of the evolving role of women in this historic institution and how their contributions continue to shape its culture and future.
My first person that was encouraging me to come to Landship is a member, Edith Barker, better known as Rosie. And once we went to a picnic and there was music playing, and she said, you do good in Landship. I want you to come. And I said, no, man. But I remember then that Father Paul from the Catholic, the Red Cross had a close connection. And he said to me once, and another commandant, would you all like to start a Landship movement for the Catholic Church? And we promised, but we never bring it to reality. So I often say, whenever I see myself moving in the Landship, I always bring along my sister, Ori Morris, because we were the two that were earmarked to do it. And as it stands, she cannot be now because she is incapacitated. But we remain, communicating with one another. She knows my elevations and she's there for me in voice. And I look up to Rosie. Yes, I look up to Rosie because she was my mentor. One lady that have passed, Ethne was one of the persons that tell me, no, don't give up, come. We working with you. We had another lady from over in Oyston's area, Velda. Velda was very instrumental too in encouraging me to stay with them. The role of the women is very important because the men set sail the ship, they look after the sustenance and maintenance. But the ladies, they're the ones who would look after nourishment, look after the young ones that come in, and keep the meal on the feet, because when they start to get rugged and the ladies say, no, do better, we need you around, don't put yourself in jeopardy for this or that. And sometimes the men could be very headstrong. Could be very headstrong. But if you get a lady can come and say, no, don't do this. We look at it in a different light. And we need you for another day. So the women have their place
Well, Lorraine has highlighted the vital role that women have played in the Barbados Landship, bringing balance, wisdom, and a different perspective to the movement. Their presence has strengthened the organization, ensuring its survival and continued impact in communities all across Barbados. As we conclude, Lorraine shares a message for those who may be contemplating joining the Barbados Landship. Whether young or old, male or female, she believes there is a place for everyone in this historic institution. Here are her final thoughts on why the Barbados Landship remains a powerful and relevant force today.
I want them to see it as betterment for them, learning to appreciate their culture, because this is a cultural movement. And as I spoke to BYAC youth, I said to them, there's a lot you can learn, there's a lot of places you can go, and there's scope for you. Now, we have Carifesta coming here in August. Carifesta is one of the stepping stones for Barbados Landship. They travel to countries that they may have never have been able to see before. We have NIFCA. They can go and be on stage, and persons can see what you can do. Then they have the gravitation of educating themselves, like the school program. Something that I was very interested in is when NCF decided to do the teachers training program affiliated with UE. They get qualifications where they became persons who can go into the community and teach the arts. So I am very pleased with all the practitioners who is there training the youth, and look forward that more would even come through this program.
Well, we've had the privilege of hearing the stories of two remarkable women, Kathaleen Banfield and Lorraine Seeley, both of whom have broken barriers in their own unique ways. Kathaleen's journey as a school meals driver reminds us of the power of perseverance, while Lorraine's dedication to the Barbados Landship highlights the importance of preserving culture and empowering future generations. As Lorraine expressed, she is proud of the practitioners training the youth, ensuring that our traditions live on. And that is the essence of She Inspires, celebrating women who are not only making history, but shaping the future. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Sherwood McCaskey. The series ends next week at the same time.